Peace be with you. People ask if the new year is forbidden by God or haram in Arabic, or if it's allowed or halal in Arabic. And that's really always been such a silly question to me, as if it's anything but a arbitrary time measuring device. Imagine a world where people were not so petty as to quit counting and restart time every time a major event comes, like a coming of a prophet, in this case, Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him. And even those people who say that he didn't exist, imagine a situation where you get to restart counting time. Those times do not come very often. And he is one of them, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is one of them as well. But if people were not so petty, imagine if our ancestors actually were not so petty and counted time without breaking the cycle, how beneficial or how profound would it be to know how long our collective civilization has existed with certainty. Now we have kind of guesstimates, but with certainty. The first person that started counting time. It would be amazing. But that is how petty they were, our ancestors. Of course, if one celebrates this arbitrary time measuring device reset in a way that God forbade, then that is certainly haram. Doing anything that God forbade is haram. But if you are just kind of randomly just taking your kids to an event because there is an opportunity for an event, then that certainly I would not consider forbidden at all, because it's not a religious thing. It's a totally such a random thing that it holds no significance. If people choose this day to commemorate, then sure, it's whatever. But if you are a Muslim and you want to be kind to people and say Happy New Year, if they say that to you, just return kindness with kindness, then that is certainly a halal thing to do. I don't celebrate it, but I found an event that I can take my kids to, and so I did it. It's just bizarre. So New Year's is neither halal nor haram because it holds no significance. I'm not sure why a Muslim would celebrate the, just an arbitrary time cycle reset, unless they want to commemorate Prophet Jesus or something, but it doesn't matter. But to say that it is religiously forbidden by God to return kindness with kindness, or to take your kids to something, halal, or to do some halal activity with people because they're off of work, well, that's certainly a bizarre thing to do. It's a bizarre way to approach religion, making non-religious things into religious. So that's what I think about that. That being said, while we are arguing about such things, almost 30,000 Palestinian civilians have been killed and almost 60,000 wounded in one of the most brutal military assaults on civilian population in history. The absolute barbarity of this slaughter is staggering. If you ever read history books and you read about how blood covered the city streets, well, that is figuratively what is happening in Gaza now. Their streets figuratively run with blood. There are so many dead people that if that land was not sand, that if it was a built-up castle, it would be running with blood. Do you understand how many 30,000 dead innocent civilians is and 60,000 wounded? How much blood that is? It's just staggering. And I think it's also very, very important at the reflection that accompanies this reset of this random time cycle. People make New Year resolutions. I think also it is very important to recognize that these crimes are committed by religious zealots who call themselves settlers, who travel from either Europe or the United States to a land that's already inhabited, and it has been inhabited for thousands of years. These people have been living there, and they just show up there and say that God gave me this. Well, they don't even practice the Torah in most instances. They practice a perversion of it, if at all, and most of them are atheists. And they come and they simply tell to the natives, leave, submit, or die. And even if they submit, they treat them with incredible cruelty and incredible just lack of empathy. They deny them water in certain instances. They deny them freedom. They definitely deny them freedom of movement. They definitely deny them the same freedom that the United Nations got together after World War II because of the Holocaust and recognized that we should never do this. They never recognized that we should never do this to a certain ethnicity. They said we should never do this to anyone ever. And we're going to try to codify a law where this is forbidden. But that has not been enforced by the world. Moreover, it's actually what has been done with the United States government, and they have been made into a satellite government of the Israeli government, it seems like, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. Why our government is supporting this is beyond me. We're supporting a genocide and systemic racism and apartheid. What is in Israel is palpable systemic racism. Certain ethnicities have rights that other ethnicities do not, and that is most certainly codified in their law of return, meaning you can be of a certain ethnicity and quote-unquote return to either Israel proper, where this law exists on the books, systemic racism, and there's much more to it than that. Or you can even go to the West Bank, which isn't even Israel, and there it's literal apartheid, it's violent apartheid. And we see what's going on in Gaza. It's actual genocide, and this same pattern has repeated. And this pattern, this destruction and people fleeing their homes, the Palestinians refer to it as Nakba. And that is what they're talking about, what happened in 1948 and subsequently several more times. Probably not as large of a scale, and now that same thing continues to be happening in the West Bank. It's ethnic cleansing is what our government is supporting, and brutality done seen since World War II, even prior to that. And why they're supporting it, I don't know. I don't know why we're supporting genocide, systemic racism, and apartheid with our money, and it is not money well spent, nor is it political capital well spent. They are turning the world against us. We are literally burning all of our bridges with the rest of the world by being the only people in the United Nations voting against this monstrosity, or voting to support this monstrosity more. We're not helping our people. We're spending our money on something we should not be spending it on, and we're spending our political capital weakening our country, making less friends than we have in the past. So this little country that we owe no debt to is turning us against the world, and our government is complicit in it. For some reason, they're doing it. I don't know why they're doing it, but they are doing it to our own disadvantage. And I recommend everybody read George Washington's farewell address and pay special attention to influence of foreign countries, what he says about influence of foreign countries in our politics and creating favorite nations and things like that. He talks about that at the dawn of the nation. He tries to give us this warning, and we have not heeded it. So the question we need to ask this upcoming cycle, which we call New Year's, this is my New Year's message, is how has the most powerful nation in the world become a satellite state? Peace be with you.